Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, May 8th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple clarification points. Number one, the price you see over here will be changing around, and then the candlestick you see will be moving around too. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time, but I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock to run here, PACW, one of the bank stocks that has been talked about quite a bit, and talked about this one in yesterday's video, saying the sideways action may be some sort of leading indicator that the bottom was in for at least a bounce. And sure enough, got the gap up this morning and then a nice follow through from there. So for anybody that watched yesterday's video, congratulations, got yourselves a nice move. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these lines as they have served their purpose for now, but we'll add in a couple new levels from areas to keep an eye on moving into Monday. So newest key level in terms of resistances right up here at, let's call it $6.25. And this is coming from former area of support right there. So that's just based on a classic example that when levels of support are broken, they tend to act as resistance. And I mean, exact thing happened. So it was broken, came back up to here, and you can see right there, found resistance and then came back down. Now, I'm not saying that this level can never be broken. I'm just saying it makes sense why that level or why that the price struggled up around 625. So keep an eye on that from the resistance side of things. And then as far as supports are concerned, the level that I'm curious about is this trend line right here. So if there is any sort of pullback, I'm going to be very curious to see how the price behaves if it goes down to it. So let me change it to green to represent support. But overall, very nice movement today, and let's see if this momentum carries into next week. Next one here, FFIE did this yesterday, and higher highs and higher lows. So that is the name of the game when it comes to building trends, is you just want to be putting in higher highs and then higher bases, which, like I said, is exactly what happened here. So first adjustment, I'm going to go ahead and the key dynamic here is what direction is this adjustment being made? So I'm going to go ahead and adjust this area of resistance in the upwards direction with the new key level at 26 cents. And assuming you're bullish, whenever levels of resistance need to be adjusted higher, that's always a good thing. So key level now, like I said, right there at 26 cents. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that green line down there because I think there's an easier way we can start to track all this. And that is where the 50-period moving average comes into play right there, that purple line. Keyword being moving, so as time goes by, this line. So it's basically like a trend line that's going to draw itself for you, because as time goes by, that line is going to move itself higher and higher. So you'll want to keep a close eye on that, like I said, from an overarching support standpoint. But at the core premise, the key dynamic is higher highs and higher lows, and once again, FFIE did that today. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and what a move today. Came up here, gapped up slightly below that resistance line, which will mean more to those of you that have watched past videos, been talking about that time and time again, but got the breakout from there, and I mean, never really looked back. And not only did it break up through that area, it came up to that pink line there, 200-period moving average, broke above there. So, I mean, was breaking all sorts of areas of resistance today. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these lines as they've now served their purpose, and we'll zoom back in here to, actually, let's stay back here because the next key area of resistance, I believe, or did it break above that level too? I can't quite tell. Nope, sitting basically right at that level at, let's call it the 170.50 mark. Yep, you can see it, which was, I wasn't sure if it was behind my ugly mug or not, but it's right there. And you can see, fast forwarding here, the price is basically stuck right around that area. So from a resistance standpoint, the big question mark I have is, can the price get some separation from there? And if it can, then as you see here, it basically enters into this gap down range, which gives it a lot of room to potentially find some more momentum and potentially get up there to right around the 178.50 mark. So like I said, room to run if this momentum can continue, as this is just a big void here on the chart. So that's a pretty interesting dynamic there. If the price does decide to pull back, then the main area of support, in my mind, right down there around the 165.50 mark. But all in all, anyway, look at it, very impressive day. Next one, CVNA, and quite the crazy move. Wild to think that at one point the price was all the way up here, and I mean to think that there were some poor souls that were buying up there before the bigger move back to the downside. But if you do like to play pullbacks, and this is one of those scenarios where, yeah, things are looking kind of rough, but to be fair, I mean, it is still in an upwards pattern, because yes, there is this downwards channel that is forming, but if you ask, well, what was going on before this upwards channel? Well, you had this big move right there. So from that point of view, all I've done is draw a bull flag pattern. So keep that in mind. But if this pullback continues, what I'm very curious about are these moving averages down there. You can see the purple line is valued at 773. Pink line is valued at 793. So if you kind of split the difference and let's just call it $7.80, then I mean, could the price come down here and get a bounce back up? No guarantees first off that it even goes down there, but even if it does, doesn't necessarily mean that it will bounce. But nonetheless, that still is a very interesting level. So if you like to play these sorts of situations where kind of an ugly situations gets even uglier and then all of a sudden turns around, then keep an eye on CVNA down around these moving averages. Next one, AMC, all good. Now, I realize that there is all sorts of movement today, but from a grand scheme of things, yeah, just staying methodically in the uptrend. Now, that opening 30 minutes was absolutely bonkers. Gapped up, came all the way down here. I mean, if you watch yesterday's video, you remember me talking about that purple line. Beautiful, the power of charts, but dropped all the way down there, came all the way back up there to that red line, and now it's pulled back a little bit. So once again, now that we have more data, I'm going to go ahead and adjust the area of resistance, but key question as earlier, what direction is this adjustment being made for resistance? I'm going to go ahead and adjust it now right up to $6.10. So as stated, whenever that's occurring, that is a good sign from the bullish side of things. And then in terms of levels of support, nothing has changed. As I talked about yesterday, keep an eye on that purple line there. We already got another great data point right there. So as time goes by, with that being the moving average, that line is going to continue to move itself higher and higher. So watch those dynamics. But all in all, higher highs and higher lows is what AMC continues to do. Real quick, wanted to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering next week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then certainly get signed up for the free live training. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage, or if you're watching on YouTube, there's a link right down in the description box to get signed up. Next, FUBO, and I like this one quite a bit. Very nice pattern here, and let me be very clear. As I draw this pattern, I'm not trying to impress you. I'm not trying to imply this is some sort of great discovery on my part or special talent. A lot of people have done this, and I say all that because when a lot of people are watching the same dynamic, watching the same pattern, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can definitely produce some very dynamic movements. So you got to think that a lot of people are watching this little wedge, symmetrical triangle, whatever you want to call it. And while there are no guarantees, is it plausible? Is it valid to think that if the price comes up here and can get a push up through that top part of the pattern, that right there in and of itself, even if it's just because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, could create additional buying pressure? Absolutely. So if you like these sorts of wedge patterns, you like stocks down below $2, keep an eye on it. Next one here, NBTX, and same exact premise that I just talked about, which is why I wanted to put it here so I don't have to repeat myself, but think self-fulfilling prophecies. So no special discovery here, no secret talent. A lot of people have drawn this pattern, so they've noticed that trend line right there, and then they've come down here and noticed that trend line right there. And just because I can't help myself, let's just make this green to represent the area of support. And then to make it maybe a little bit more, so let's keep it one color. So we have resistance, we have support, we have the nice move up right here. For you golfers out there, we'll make it more visual, put the golf hole down here. So this would be a bull pennant pattern. So this one is a little bit pricier than, obviously not down below $2, but still sub $10 stock. So if you like bull pennants, keep an eye on it. Next one, MINM. Very interesting one. First off, because it has proven not that long ago that it can move and move very, very quickly. And then today, the volume started to come back to life. So it's worth throwing out the question, is this the start of something potentially bigger? And that's what a watch list is all about. Finding unique, finding interesting situations, and not rushing out and randomly buying stuff, but at least watching it and keeping an eye on. So yeah, worth keeping an eye on to see if this is the start of maybe something bigger. So as far as areas of resistance are concerned, that level right there seems interesting to me. And then as far as supports and pullback points, once again, we have a classic example there of that purple line 50 period moving average hold. So, can that hold continue to, going forward? If that does not, then I could very easily see the price going down to that pink line, which did a good job of holding that support right there. The 200 period moving average currently valued at 283. But I think the most interesting dynamic and the dynamic that most people are probably watching and wondering about is, can this thing curl back up and then get a break up through there? And if so, that could very well introduce in those self-fulfilling prophecies. So if you like these sorts of scenarios, certainly keep an eye on it with your watch list. Next one here, AAPL. Apple had earnings, and obviously a popular stock. Everybody's heard of Apple. And I like this one, I guess, for two reasons, because it is such a popular reason. And then this right here. This is not impressive at all. I assure you, everybody and their brother's uncle noticed, oh, look, the price has been struggling up there around 174.25. So once again, bringing in the talking topic of the self-fulfilling prophecies, Is it guaranteed? Absolutely not. But is it a plausible thought that if the price comes up here and can break up through there, that in of itself could create additional buying pressure? Yeah, that is certainly a plausible scenario that could come out. So really as basic as that is Apple. Super. I mean, you could maybe even argue the most popular, most well-known stock with a very, very well-defined resistance area. So if you like potential self-fulfilling prophecies, keep an eye on it. Next one, TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ market. So NASDAQ market had a very good day today. This one also had a very good day. I mean, really, really impressive things. In fact, yesterday, which just goes to show that just because something's a bearish pattern doesn't mean that it's for sure going down. In this situation, this bearish pattern got blown out of the water and up it went. So certainly updates need to be made. And like Apple, a very, I think, highly watched level. So going again, let me make sure. Yeah. Oh, yes, even more so now. I'm glad I shrunk that down. But you got to think a lot of people have noticed these highs, are drawing that line to 28.50 and saying, look at there. 28.50 rejected the price. And then even today, basically rejected the price. So if the price can get up there, I think Apple, does that guarantee anything? No. But is there a component of self-fulfilling prophecy with such a well-defined level on a in fact, this one I think might be the most popular ETF out there. But point being, yeah, that's a very, very monitored level that we'll see if it can bring about some self-fulfilling prophecies or not. If the price does decide to pull back, then the first key level to watch with any sort of pullback going to be right down there at, what is that about? Yeah, the $28 mark. And then, of course, you can continue to watch these moving averages, too, as the pink line especially proved to be a good, solid area of support here. But like a lot of these other ones, in fact, in the very near term, little tiny bull flag pattern. So can this bull flag pattern produce a break up through 28.50? I think that's the question on most people's minds. So let's see if some self-fulfilling prophecies can get kicked into gear early next week. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here, then I want you to get signed up for the free live online class. Like I said earlier, it'll be next week, Thursday, May 11th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, do two things for me, please. Hit the like button, and then let me know what you traded today, or let me know what you're watching next week. Those two things help out the channel, help out these videos, and as long as I know people are enjoying, then I will continue to put the required time and effort to get this content out to you. So thanks for watching. Hit the like button, leave a comment, get signed up for the class, and have a great weekend.